Taylor is the Wildlife Trade and Ranching Manager at Earth Wildlife Trust. He's written extensively on the viability of legalising rhino horn trade in the country. We chat to him now on the line. Good afternoon, Andrew, and thank you for your time on the channel.
Good afternoon. Sure. No, you're welcome.
Andrew, does this mean now that it's legal to trade rhino horn in the country?
Yes. As things stand, it is now legal to trade rhino horn within South Africa. So, in other words, domestic trade in rhino horn is legal. However, as you mentioned earlier, international trade still remains prohibited because that is controlled by CITES, which is the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora. So, although it's legal now to trade rhino horn in the country, you cannot sell rhino horn outside of the country.
Andrew, can you just speak to us of some of the implications of lifting and not lifting the national moratorium? Which one would you say would be more effective in the fight against poaching?
I think that's actually a very difficult question to answer. I don't think we know what the outcome of this will be. I think it's very important to remember that although it's now currently legal to sell rhino horn, anybody who wants to sell rhino horn still has to have the valid permit, and that's covered under the National Environmental Management Biodiversity Act, which is known as NEMBA. And so anybody who wants to trade the horn still has to have a permit. And I should also mention that the Minister of Environmental Affairs has stated that they will be appealing this ruling, and if that is upheld, that'll mean that the legal trade will have to be put on hold until the appeal process is heard. But to answer your original question, I honestly, it's a very difficult question to answer, and I think we would have to wait and see what would happen.
Andrew, how did we get here in the first place? What caused the poaching crisis in South Africa right now?
Okay, I think, again, that's a complicated question. There's no one simple answer to it. I think, so rhino poaching was very serious in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And then, so almost all the black rhinos were wiped out of Africa. But in the early 1990s, there were very few black rhinos left. Also, China implemented a domestic ban on rhino horn. And there were a number of other issues. And for about a 10-year period between the early 1990s and about 2002, there was very little poaching throughout of Africa of rhinos. But then what we think happened was somehow the demand in Asia started to grow again. And because South Africa was by then one of the few countries that had any significant number of rhinos, South Africa became the target. But some people have blamed the moratorium for the increase in poaching, but there is not a direct correlation. So the increase in poaching started in 2008, and the moratorium was implemented in 2009. So while it's possible that the moratorium played a role, it was not the instigating factor.
Thank you, Andrew Taylor, talking to us on the News Today desk. Moving on to other news now.